All right. So what I've done for you guys here, whoops, I don't know why it's not working. And that's not what I want to do either. Okay, let's try this. All right. So what I've done for you guys here, I'm just going to cover a few things in this next part in the major battles of 1862. I've highlighted, if it's yellow, it's the Western Theater. If it's green, it's the Eastern Theater. All right? And what that means is, if a battle occurred to the east of Appalachia, it's in the Eastern Theater. If it's west of Appalachia, it's the Western Theater. And then there's battles that occur beyond Mississippi, which is called the Trans-Mississippi Theater, but I'm not getting into that today. So what I've done is kind of a chronological Western to Eastern battle sequence for you guys here. So in the early days of 1862 in the West, General Ulysses S. Grant and Union forces, this is a combined force of infantry, artillery, cavalry, and naval support, are going to take two tremendously important forts, Fort Henry and Fort Donelson, along the Tennessee and Cumberland rivers. What this does is it opens up the door for the Union to attack into Tennessee, Alabama, and Mississippi. This also where Grant gets the nickname Unconditional Surrender Grant. And his fame starts to go on to the rise. Because of these victories, by the end of 1862, the Union will have occupation of Nashville, Memphis, and New Orleans. All three of those are tremendously important, not for just trade, but for also Southern industrial output. In the Eastern Theater in March, major naval battle, the Monitor versus the Merrimack, also known as the Battle of Hampton Roads, occurred on March 9th. This battle is a draw. Basically, these two ironclads face off, cannonballs are bouncing off the sides. More people actually suffered smoke inhalation than were hit by shrapnel. But what this battle does is it not only is our first ironclad battle in naval history, it's also a naval battle that changes naval warfare forever on a global scale. Everybody's got to move toward ironclads. Back to the Western Theater, in the month of April, Grant is going to really gain fame in this battle. It's a two-day battle known as the Battle of Shiloh. It's named for a small church near where the battle took place. The meaning of the church is place of peace. It's also referred to as the Battle of Pittsburgh Landing. Tremendously important because on the first day of the battle, the 6th, the Confederates were winning. However, their commander, Albert Sidney Johnston, who had sent his field medic off to tend to soldiers, had a stray bullet pass through his boot. It severs an artery. He bleeds out. A tourniquet could have saved his life. Now he's dead. This is a massive turning point for the war in the West. Next day, on the 7th, Grant and Sherman will turn the tide of the battle after being reinforced, and it'll be a Union victory. It's also horrifically deadly. In just 2 days, 23,000 missing, killed, wounded. 2 days. March to May, Stonewall Jackson will gain fame in the Valley Campaign, where his soldiers will traverse up to 30 miles a day on foot with a force of about 17,000 against a Union force 4 times its size, losing just one of 5 battles pushing the Union out of the Shenandoah Valley. Why would the Shenandoah Valley be important to the Confederacy? Very good. Excellent. It's the breadbasket of the Confederacy. That's where their grain and flour and livestock are coming from. Eastern Theater, George B. McClellan has now taken command of the Union force in the east from Irvin McDowell after Bull Run. He is going to launch what is called the Peninsula Campaign. It lasts from March all the way to July of 1862. It's a very long campaign. The goal is to attack up 3 rivers. What 3 rivers would he be attacking up the peninsula of Virginia? We know one of them because it's right down the road. The James, good. The York, and the Chickahominy. He is knocking on the door. However, during this campaign, this is when Lee takes command of Confederate forces in Virginia and takes command of the Army of Northern Virginia. And Lee will keep McClellan at bay. This brutal campaign ends in what is called the 7 days. The last days of June into the first day of July. Tens of thousands are missing, killed, wounded in this campaign and in these last days of the Peninsula Campaign. Ultimately, McClellan retreats. Richmond is held. Both sides, horrible casualties are inflicted, and Lincoln removes McClellan from command. New Union commander, yet again, John Pope takes command, and Lee goes on the offensive toward Northern Virginia. This will lead to a major victory for the Confederates in the summer of 1862, the Second Battle of Bull Run. The exact same place the first battle occurred, just a year and a month later, and flip-flopped the positions. Lee will defeat Pope. Pope will be removed from command. McClellan gets the command back. Next month, September, Lee is launching what is called the Maryland Campaign. He's trying to make his way into Maryland. He hopes that the Marylanders are going to rejoice, join the Confederates, march into Pennsylvania. That doesn't happen. What does happen is the Battle of Antietam in Sharpsburg, Maryland, the single bloodiest day of the war. Antietam's like 3 battles in one day. In the morning, they fight in the cornfield. Midday, they fight in the sunken road, also known as Bloody Lane. And by the end of the day, they fight on Burnside's Bridge. Confederates lose the battle. Lee retreats back to the south and back across the Potomac. McClellan does not follow up on the retreat. Lincoln removes him from command again. He will not receive another command. Battle of Fredericksburg is the last major battle in 1862 in the East. New Union commander, General Burnside, who had gained fame from the Battle of Antietam, is now in command. He is going to launch horrific frontal assaults on the Confederate defensive position at Mary's Heights in Fredericksburg. This is one of the most lopsided victories for the Confederates in the Civil War. The Union casualty report was nearly 13,000, the Confederates at 5,000. So now we're moving into 1863, and the Confederates are still hanging on. And in the East, they've had quite a bit of success. In the West, not so much. All right. So, on the left here, we have the Monitor and the Merrimack, the Battle of Hampton Roads. They said that the Monitor looked like a great cheese platter. It was invented by John Erickson, that was a rotating gun turret. But as you remember from Jury's Bluff, from your visit to Jury's Bluff, the problem the Monitor had there was the gun couldn't go up. It could only spin around. And then that is the Merrimack CSS Virginia. Over here on the right, this is the very end of the engagement at Antietam. That's Burnside's Bridge in Sharpsburg, Maryland. Questions about 1862? Everybody good? All right, cool. That is all I've got.